Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. This is an exciting time, actually, because it's another time around the sun that we are facing holiday time. This particular holiday time, the returning of the light that returns, and so this light and dark kind of theme is inherent in this, although what we see at Christmas time is all the light, right? All of the sparkle, all the zest, all the festivity. But this is really, it's sort of a reaction. It's sort of like trying to try to undo the darkness. It's trying to bring light from the sun into the spaces in which we're living. That was always what we did this time of year. We, those of us, when we were, our ancestors, I should say, when I'm saying we, but humanity has always been trying to bring normalcy, or the things that give us comfort, or the things that give us a sense of peace, always trying to bring them back in and try to rail against the change, to rail against what we're afraid of, to rail against what threatens us. This is the time of year that we seek comfort and we seek the light. And so tonight, what I wanted to talk about was, yes, light and dark, but I really want to talk about the gifts of the Madonna, because it's also the mother-child image that we have also come to understand as part of this seasonal time, as this time of year. And it's a very comforting image. It's gentle, it's quiet. It's a time out from the world, isn't it? When the mother holds the baby, time stops, doesn't it? There's just this warm comfort and continuity and sustenance and safety, and it brings peace to our souls to even observe that connection of mother and child. So this is a beautiful part of our tradition. But there is more to the story of who Mary, the mother of Jesus, or the mother of God, really is or was, and the meaning that we can draw from her presence in our life. There are conventional images of the Mother Mary. I'll show that to you in just a minute. Oh, no, go back. I don't want to, that's right, too fast. I basically want to just remind you, I know you know this, I'm sure you've seen all of the icons, the images, the statues, or grown up with them, as many of us have, I have. Conventional images of the Mother Mary are light-skinned, even blonde images of a young woman, almost always depicted with eyes cast down. She's always humble, she's always looking down, perhaps at the child Jesus in her arms, or even before she has given birth. She is always sort of in a humble kind of attitude. In theology, she's the ever virgin, that no matter how many children she has, whether she has Jesus or 7 brothers and sisters to accompany, she is ever virgin, and she is ever childlike. She is like the child woman. She is passive, subservient, pure, beautiful, quiet. And her power is implicit. It is drawn because she is the mother of Jesus. He listens to her when he's grown. He listens to her when they go to the wedding feast at Cana. And she leans over and says, "They have no wine." And a son always knows what mom really means when she gives him any kind of enigmatic direction. And he says, "What's that to me? I don't have no." Okay, all right. I know what to do here. And so his first miracle happens, water into wine. And so our prayers to her are for her mediation to plead our case, so to speak, to her Son, God, basically, Jesus as God. And so that's the image of Mary that I grew up with. And there was a comfort in her because she was fully human. And the teaching I had grown up with was that Jesus was God and man. But Mary was our connection, our tether to the human aspect and the challenges and the difficulties. And her pure heart is what made her the perfect container for bringing God into manifestation and through Jesus in the world. And so she was an easier, closer, so to speak, entity that we could identify with and connect with, and therefore someone of comfort and understanding. But there are other images of the Mother, of the Madonna. There are over 500 images of Black Madonnas throughout Europe alone, all over the world, in fact. In almost all traditions, there is a dark-skinned Madonna. And she is not always the same kind of character or personality that we may have been taught about. She is the icons that are created, that have been used and have darkened over time, have believed to have darkened largely because of the smoke and the incense in the churches or the temples where they were kept, right? And yet, if you think about this for a moment, what are icons for? What are statues for? As a Catholic, former Catholic, I can tell you what it meant to me to see these images. I wasn't confused that they were some alive being, but they were representative. And it was a talisman, it was a connection, it was a bridge to the divine for me. I didn't confuse it for divinity, but I understood it to be a bridge for me and understood it to be a connection. And if I had had exposure to a Black Madonna, I think that my connection to something different would have been brought forward in me. That difference is something that changes our understanding, I would say. Think about this for a moment. La Virgin de Guadalupe, the Virgin, Our Lady of Guadalupe, that is our North American version of the dark-skinned or Black Madonna. She's actually more morena, she's brunette. And her feast day has recently, I think in 1995 or 99, I think Pope John Paul II made December the 12th her feast day, 12/12. What does that mean? Metaphysically, 12 is the supreme arrival of our souls in full manifestation. 12/12 is a multiplication of that. It is like the highest, the greatest, the fullest expression. And in this case, this Madonna is different, and she behaves differently. This story of the Lady La Virgen de Guadalupe appeared in 1531 outside of Mexico City to Juan Diego, a 57-year-old peasant who was an Aztec who had recently converted to Christianity. To prove that she was indeed the Mother Mary, to the bishop who asked for proof beyond just the belief of this peasant man, she produced Castilian roses that fell from Juan Diego's cloak at the feet of the bishop. They were not only out of season and blooming, but they were not native to the Americas at all. And an impression of her image was also found to be emblazoned on his cloak. And that is the image. She wears the dress of an Aztec princess with an olive tone to her skin and dark hair. This Virgen Morena, the brunette virgin, applies her own power in this story. In response to the bishop's request for proof, she gives more than he asked for. She gives beyond the roses that were a miracle unto themselves. She also leaves her image that this poor peasant could never have created. And that tests later in the years through scientific methods, really no one understands how the image was created. The power that comes from the dark, from the mysterious subterranea of our psyche, the shadow of the passive image of a young girl woman, is power, is creativity, is generative, it is transforming. It is what happens in the dark, in the deep, in the quiet, in the shadow, in the hidden, in the places that we don't go easily or sometimes even willingly. Show the next image. This is the image of the Castilian Roses. Oh, I know why I wanted you. Let's leave that up for just a moment. I'm getting to that part. Theaster Gates, an African-American artist, he did a Black Madonna series in his artwork, and he's quoted as saying this: "Once there was a fire in France," he says, "and the Madonna there smote the fire and ingested the trauma. It wasn't that she was charred. There was something about the trauma, however, that made her black." And I'm curious about this idea, he says. Could a Black Madonna simply be a white Madonna with trauma? In other words, do Madonnas mature toward blackness because of something bad that happens? Or something sudden and traumatic, something that changes the direction of things? Is this revealing something to us about us, all of us, about our very souls that are genderless, and our souls that are neither white nor black, nor purple nor green, but rather ethereal, transparent, beauty, and power? We go deep into it, and we stop avoiding what makes us afraid, what we fear, what hurts, what might hurt us, what has hurt us in the past. And it is with that courage and with that ability to go deep and to be with what it is that is calling to us, that we go into the subterranea of our psyche, and we go into the deeper darkness, and we discover treasure, hidden treasure. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote Women Who Run with the Wolves, she's a Jungian psychologist. She says, black is the color of mud, the fertile, the basic stuff into which ideas are sown. Yet black is also the color of death, the blackening of the light. And black has even a third aspect. It is also the color associated with that world between the worlds, which La Loba, which is a wolf woman or shaman, stands upon. For black is the color of descent, of going down deeper, of plowing into and going where we are most afraid and most wanting to avoid. We've been very good at staying in the light. She says, black is the promise that you will soon know something you did not know before. the utter genesis of wisdom. It is the change that starts us in a whole different direction, a new trajectory of our lives. We call that transformation. We call that an integration and healing of the soul. It is a life-death-life alchemy. Now, I'll explain what this is up there for. There are 3 colors that she talks about in this experience. Black, or the nigredo, is the wandering, the descent into the mystery, the shadow, the field of new life. It is a place that we wander to learn what is it that this meaning that we search for, the meaning of why this happened, why is this here, why am I where I am in my life, who I am. But to be there and to get there, the red now, robedo, is the sacrifice, what has to be let go, killed off in order to transform. So this image is the Castilian roses that come as a bloom, but what else do roses have? Thorns. And what do thorns do when we grab hold of them? We bleed, and we bleed red. This is a powerful image of understanding that sometimes we have to let go of a part of our lives. We have to let go of something that we have believed was true about us that isn't true, or isn't true any longer. Something that is ready to be let go of, something that is ready to be changed or transformed, and we have to let it go. We have to allow it to be taken from us, killed off in order to transform. To be replaced or to be ascending into the white, the albedo, which is the new life, the pristine and the pure. Do you see how in the center of this image, this iconic image, this is the flow of that white, that new life that comes and it refills every space. Jet Ferris, she's an author. She says, a part of us has to die to transform, and a part of us dies if we don't. Which part will prevail? You see, what happens is some sort of death is going to happen. Some part of us is ready. There comes a tension that is so great and disconcerting, and we can feel it, and even though we resist it, there is still something that is trying to come forth, and if we do not go with it, if we do not allow it, then something will die, and it can be a part of our soul, a part of our purpose. It can be something that keeps us small and wounded and protective and hurt and defensive and less than what we would have been, less than what we were meant to be. On the other hand, if we allow that to come out and to be transformed, if we become brave enough, then the darkness then brings into the light something powerful and beautiful and whole and true and meant to be, not only in the light, but of the light, and to be shining a light for the world. That is our destiny. That is our purpose. And it doesn't happen just one time. It happens over and over and over in our lives in so many little ways and big ways. Jeff Bridges, yes, the actor, he said something coherent. This is what he said: imperfection and perfection go so hand in hand, and our dark and our light are intertwined, that by trying to push the darkness or the negative aspects of our life to the side, well, we're preventing ourselves from the fullness of life. In other words, being who and what we are, right here, right now, just as we are. This is exactly the thing that is calling us into being all that we can be. And that will also allow us to let go of what no longer serves when that time comes. If we hold it with an open hand and we stop trying to defend and protect, and realize there's nothing to protect against and nothing that is here to hurt us anymore. That we are, in fact, bringing something more powerful than anything we encounter in the world. That when we do that, we are ready to easily let go of what no longer serves because we know what follows it is pure life. It is pure energy. It is pure love. Clarissa Estes says, now we are in another nigredo of wandering, the darkness, and not knowing what will become of us. And yet in this very raggedy condition, we're brought to sup on the tree of life. The tree of life in the darkness is really whatever it is that is drawing you to your next thing. It is the thing that will sustain you. It is the thing that will feed you. To eat of the tree of life in the land of the dead, that dark, that deep darkness, is an ancient impregnation metaphor. To eat of the fruit of the tree of life is to be impregnated. She says, in the land of the dead, it was believed a soul could invest itself in a fruit or any edible thing so that its future mother would eat it, and the soul hidden within the fruit would begin its regeneration in her flesh. So here, at the almost midway point, through the substance of the pear, we are being given the body of the wild mother. We are eating that which we will ourselves become. So as we follow whatever it is that feeds us or calls to us, whatever it is that seeks us, anything that we are captivated by, that we are learning from, teachings, mentors, books, anything that is calling us to the next thing, we are consuming it, we are eating it, and we are being transformed by it. And its soul is investing itself in us. And we are becoming the wild mother. We are becoming something more than we were before. This is what transformation is, and this is how we participate in it. Meister Eckhart, a 14th century mystic and theologian, says, from all eternity, God lies on a maternity bed giving birth. The essence of God is birthing. What good is it to me, he says, if this eternal birth of the divine Son takes place unceasingly, but does not take place within myself? And what good is it to me if Mary is full of grace, and if I am not also full of grace? What good is it to me for the Creator to give birth to his or her Son if I do not also give birth to him in my time and my culture? This then is the fullness of time, when the Son of God is begotten in us. Ray Bradbury, science fiction writer, says, we are cups, constantly and quietly being filled. The trick is knowing how to tip ourselves over and let the beautiful stuff out. May this season be your time of spending some of your time in the deep darkness, that you may be reborn, because that's what it's all about. God bless you all, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.